Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Timberborn with me, Alpha Omega and Soggy Logs Island. So it's day 6, cycle 5, and we are about a minute away from the drought. It's gonna hit us. I wonder how long it's gonna be because they keep getting progressively longer. Hopefully not too bad. But I think we are very much ready for it. As you can see, we have all of the reservoirs full. They're actually overflowing right now, but I'm keeping them like that to make sure that they're fully topped up. The river is also full. It might not seem like that, but because there is a dam over here, we cannot really put more water in there at this point unless we want, the water that fills it above this level is flowing down into the lower reservoir where we have the water pumps ready, and they're pumping the water that we will fill into the tanks. Speaking of which, we have 623 units there out of 780, which is good. I thought the beavers worked 24 hours this past day so that we fill it to the brink, but now it's time to actually pause these so that we do not take water from the river itself, but only from the place where we want it. So I think I can unpause it and we can see the drought hitting us. When it comes to other developments, I am actually starting to prepare for the antidote herbalist chain. We have set these two new, we've built these two new buildings, which is going to give us extra 6 dwellers and increased our capacity. We're also building a medium warehouse for sunflower seeds and one for paper over here, which is going to be the first step in our chain to, you need to first make paper, and then you combine the paper with the blueberries and you create the antidote. So that's the first thing we need to have. Once we finish that, we're gonna look a little bit at our situation and what we can do to make it a little bit better. I will have to see. The drought is going to be 10 days. That's actually pretty long, but I think we're really ready. It's going to be just interesting to see how it's going to impact our farming and the growth of our tree plantation. As you can see, first trees are actually coming up, so we are starting to be fully self-sufficient. But again, we'll see how it's going to impact us. Right now we're full on food, we're almost full on water, so things are going well. We are going to pump extra water here. Let me just load this back to 18 hours. Last but not least, actually, before we jump into the other updates, I wanted to say that while we are building the holding post, and we're still working on the metal producing, metal, what would that be? Metal working or metal processing chain? I'm starting to feel a little bit of the inefficiencies because we sprawl along the entirety of the island, but there are, you should always try to combine your buildings, build up, not across. So I'm thinking that eventually we will start moving some of the buildings on top of each other just to make sure that everything works out. Plus we have this entire area here that will never get irrigated, so we should build more on that. We might, break down some of the buildings like the inventors or, some of these medium water tanks, and eventually just put them somewhere else to make sure that we use the space. Because, right now we will have 6 more viewers. They will consume more, drink more, eat more, and well, we are gonna plan to put them, on the paper and holding posts and metal processing. We will need to feed them, and we will need to making sure that they have enough to drink, and that's going to be the biggest issue. The population is, in my opinion, starting to hit a little bit of its limits. We are very limited in the overall space, and we have to be wary of that. Now, there are ways, of course, how to deal with that. We can, remove some of this blockage and, make sure that we get more space for ourselves, and that's going to be part of the plan for this Let's Play. We are going to move into the water eventually, but it's going to take some time. First we need to make sure that we have the antidotes for anyone who will accidentally drink the bad water or get contaminated by it, so that's gonna make it better for us. But yeah, other than that, I think we are on our way to completely colonize the island, become self-sufficient, and the plan's now gonna be to build the sluices, expand the reservoirs, and start with the antidote. So hopefully we're going to be able to do all of that in this episode, and in the next one we're going to start our works into the sea. Day 12 of the 5th cycle, and we still have about 4 days worth of drought left. However, we are already, well, not already, but we ran out of water. And it is a little bit a miscalculation on my side. It turns out that, we do not have as much water as I thought, and my plan was to keep everything irrigated all the time, so I kept adding more water into the river, but there's just so much evaporation during the drought that I don't think we will be able to keep everything irrigated. Once this water goes out, we don't have it anymore, and that means our farms are going to be hit by drought. But it doesn't matter. I don't think we're going to be that bad off. We keep harvesting everything. We are still full on the carrots, and we have 450 units of water. So the worst that can happen is that the actual farms aren't going to dry up. But we can replant them, and we can afford a little bit of inefficiency. But it is a lesson for me. We will have to do sort of a control the drought, especially as, we're going to be running out of water and the droughts are going to be longer, where we basically let the fields go dry for a day or two, and then we water them again, have them grow a little bit, and then have a day or two of drought more, and then we put in more water. That way you prevent your crops and trees from actually dying out of drought, basically drying up, because you keep watering them from time to time and letting them grow for a bit, but you also have these intermezzo periods where you actually have a full-on drought. So we have to be doing that until we get so much water that we actually do not even have to think about it. But I don't know how long that's going to take, because again, the droughts are going to be getting longer and longer, and we are not, well, hopefully we'll be able to keep up with it. But yeah, so keeping water in there all the time is, I guess, not an option for us right now. We'll have to do it later on when we have way more water stored. Apart from that, we actually demolished the floodgate, the triple floodgate that we had here, and instead we are working on our first sluice. This is gonna allow us to build up, because the triple floodgate cannot be built on top of it, but the sluice can. So you can see that we have it in the very bottom, and then we are building on top, and we're just gonna keep adding layers and layers and keeping building up and up and up, and thus storing more water. As a reminder, the evaporation is based on the surface area. So if you build up, you are not increasing the evaporation. The same amount of water will always evaporate, but because you have more levels of water, it is much better to do that rather than burning across. Again, if we extended this like so, the area of evaporation would be much higher, and we would be losing more water per day than when we just build up, because we will always lose the same amount of water, but there will be more water stored below. So that's why I'm going for that. Now, because we are building the sluice, you probably already figured out that we have the smelter done and ready. It's producing metal blocks that we need for this one. We already have one over here. More are gonna come. And once that one is done and we finish these levees, we are going to do the same thing here and here to facilitate a better usage of this area. Again, we're gonna build up and have more storage of water there. Now we are swimming in logs right now, which is making me really happy. We have enough to construct. It might seem though as it's quite a lot, but 180, that's about, what is it, 15 levees, and then we're going to be out. So we have to keep cutting down more trees. You can see that the farms are, yielding trees. We still have some trees over here that we can cut eventually, but again, you saw that, many of these trees actually fully grew, and there are more. It's gonna come. This one is at 90%. Okay, these ones were already being cut. There's probably more of them here somewhere. Or did we cut already all of those? Okay, 88% here, 90% here. So we are doing good. So what's the plan for the next couple of days? Well, we're gonna try to weather the drought. We're gonna finish up the sluice and build this thing. And we're gonna start raising these sides to make this main reservoir better. And we're also gonna replace these ones. Afterwards, hopefully, we are going to have an extended wet season, which should be good, and it should allow us to, take a little bit of a rest from these constant droughts. As you can see, I have finished the warehouses. I have connected these houses to the network, so we now have 6 extra beds, 30 beavers and 3 young ones, which is still not enough to actually fill any positions, for example, in the holding post, because, the smelter used some, and, other places. Well, actually, that's one thing that I haven't mentioned, because we have so many logs, and the planks turned out to be a little bit of an issue. We now have 2 lumber mills, so we have one over here and one over here. They're also fully manned. You can see that there is a beaver running in the wheel here, and there is a beaver working in the lumber mill. So we're gonna have a little bit more logs, and that's gonna speed up things as well, because the sluices, they need quite a lot of planks and metal blocks. They do not need any logs. And once we start raising this reservoir level, we will need to build a construction around it of stairs and platform, so that we can always access the upper part. So this was, part of it. But yeah, as I was trying to say, basically we need more beavers. We have the capacity for 39 at this point, I believe. No, we have 3 beds. Okay, 36, not 39. But yeah, again, that's gonna be good, because we will have more beavers to work for, and the holding post is going to be necessary. I'm gonna start probably that's the thing, like, we still have the pumps that we are not using, so again, still not enough beavers, but I'm wary of getting more, because while the food might be good now, who knows how it's gonna look in the future. You might just run out of food, run out of water. I don't want to risk that. So small baby steps, managing the beavers and their productions, and where they work and what they do, is crucial at this part. Well, I called it. We ran out of water. We still have 1 day of drought left, and there is not a single drop of water in the river or in our reservoirs. And unfortunately, it really means that we will most likely lose our crops, because they are gonna die around the time when the water is gonna flow in. So some might survive, some might not. We're gonna see, but it's just the carrots. Still, it's gonna be a little bit of a hit to our economy, because the entire, harvest is gonna die. What's kind of interesting is that I found out that the sunflowers are a little bit more resilient. I guess that's because they grow longer. The game is balancing them out by giving them a little bit more resilience. So the sunflowers will survive. It's the carrots that will die out. Unfortunate. Oh, either way, we've finished the sluice, and as you can see, we are already working on raising the level. So that is ongoing very well. We are building more platforms here so that we can actually access this area of the floodgate, where we are going to build the second sluice, so that we can actually have the system that we planned. It will take a little bit of time, but with the second lumber mill, we're actually doing kind of good on planks. You can see that we are now full, so I'm really not worried. The beavers are just taking a priority on the VVs instead of doing these, but fair enough. Fair enough, it's not an issue. Now, what I plan to do again is work heavily on this before the next drought, because I don't want to have this situation again. I'll manage the water completely differently from now on. I really, should have done that before, but lesson learned, I guess. The evaporation of the river is just... The river is so long that filling it is kind of expensive when it comes to water. And the evaporation is so heavy that, it cannot stay there for much, for too long. Like, it's a couple of days at the top, so we really have to keep that in mind. Considering that we have only 228 units of water also, I plan to build another one of these medium tanks as soon as possible. They're actually pretty expensive. They require, for the planks, 20 gears. We have 13 gears right now, so we do not have enough, but yeah, I plan to do so. I'm probably going to put it somewhere like here. And here we can build platforms to raise it up above the bad water that's here, and that way we will have them accessible. What I might do after that is just demolish some of these smaller tanks and free up the space for either some more small storage, or I don't know, maybe the small houses. I don't use those much, but there is a possibility to use them. You can build a couple of them and they give you, storage for more inhabitants. So it could be kind of cool, Or we can just demolish them and plant. That's also a viable option, and probably one that I should take. I know that I started this episode by saying that we are gonna work on the antidote now, but I really am having a hard time managing the beaver population. We have 31 beavers when it comes to adults and 4 young ones. But we never really got above 32, I think, because the beavers that we have keep dying and the young ones keep replacing them, so we really are not getting more actual workforce. And by the time that the drought ends and we get more water, I'll have to reopen the pumps, which means that there will be no more of free beavers in the holding post, which are usually... I use them as, the extra beavers. When I don't know what to do with them, I just put them in the holding post, and it kind of shows you how many extra you have and how much you can expand your economy. Right now, we are at pretty much -1 beaver, because these free ones will fill the free pumps, and then another one is going to be taken from, I guess, the builders. Yeah, because these ones are -2, so they're going to go first when it comes to priority. And these have low priorities, so they're gonna come next. So we'll have 3 builders and no haulers when that is done. Oh well, but I can't wait for the island to be green again. This always looks so depressing when you are in the drought, just so depressing. But I think we still went through this one pretty well. We have enough units of water, we have enough food stored, so it's not bad. What I might consider eventually, though, is just actually putting or unlocking the fluid dump, and basically just building some of these medium tanks, filling them fully, and during a drought just repurposing the water and putting it back into the river, so that we actually keep it as a separate storage. Because, as I said many times, beaver are very efficient. They unlocked downright magical ways how to store water, because 300 units of water in just the medium tank is way more than you can have there. They could, I don't know, I think one square cube is like 20 units of water, so you basically store the entire river in just one tank here. But then you basically play with the possibility that they are going to dump all of the water into the river, and you will have nothing to drink. So you have to be a little bit careful about that. But it's certainly a way how we could manage this as well. But I'm going to focus for now on expanding the reservoirs, storing more water, and basically just doing that, because that's a more downright, I guess, or direct way how to treat our issues. Unless we get badtide, which I'm pretty sure is gonna come sooner or later. And we have been so far very lucky, 5 cycles without badtide. I'd call that lucky. So hopefully our luck will hold and we're gonna get another drought soon. Day 1 of 6th cycle, and we have water. It's coming. It's coming slowly, but it's coming. This island always is the first one to be green. This is the extent of the drought, by the way. This is how low the water got this time. Can't wait for the longer ones to see even more of the terrain. But yeah, as I fought a lot of our crops that actually died, you can see the darker sort of metallic color, and you are okay, all of it died. How unfortunate. But yeah, we finished the sluice over here, and we are now building up at these levels. Next one is going to be the triple floodgate here, which we also need to replace into or we need to build a sluice there to replace it, and then we can just build up and up and up. Oh god, it feels so good to see green again. I kind of have a little bit of an anxiety when, you know, I have this kind of metallic dry color everywhere. It just always feels like there's something wrong. And I mean, there is, you know, no water, but so you guys can start pumping again because we now have water. Beavers will replant all of the crops so they grow. They're gonna be nice. Things are gonna be nice. Or so I hope. Anyway, let's pray for at least 10 days. 10 days of water. That would be kind of nice if we could get like 6 days of wet season and then... Okay, that would be 7 days of wet season and then 3 days before a drought. I ended the last episode by saying that I hope that we're gonna get a drought soon. What I meant is that we're gonna get the drought next. And I'm really hoping it's not going to be a bad tide, because that one is going to test us really bad, especially if it's a long one. I don't know how the game calculates it, to be quite honest, if it's going to give us just like 3 or 4 days of bad tide, or if it's going to hit us with something like 10 to 15 days, which would be really bad. But, you know, hopefully we'll be able to build up and up and up. We still have a lot of logs, we still have a lot of trees growing, so let's hope all will be fine. I mean, let's really hope so. But yeah, water held, food held, we don't have much to complain about. Day 7 of the 6th cycle, and we are getting a bad tide. It's gonna be here in less than a day. We didn't even have full 10 days of wet season. We have actually like 4 days? 5 days. 5 days of wet season, and then the bad tide is coming. So the game is really not letting us rest. The good news is that we have everything filled here. The water tank here, or the water reservoir, is full. We are currently building, or I mean not building, we are letting the water out on the second reservoir, and I'm gonna explain why. You can see that the construction is going on here. We are upgrading it. We've already built a level up here, so we're building up as we planned. We're cutting down the trees over here to allow us to even further expand the reservoir. But the sources have a little bit of an issue that I never really tested before. And again, as I said, I don't use them that much because these challenge maps will force you to use even things that you didn't before. And this is one of the things. So what's the issue? Well, because of the sluices being down and all of this water pressure being above them, you really have a lot of water coming from them, and you cannot even properly regulate them. You can only open them and close them. Okay, hold on, where is it? It's kind of hard to see here. Give me a sec, come on. Show me the sluice, it's here somewhere. Let me pause it. I'll demonstrate the issue that we have. Okay, here it is. So, the tank is, or the reservoir is fully topped up. When I open it, you will see that there is so much water coming out, it's gonna spill everywhere. And the reservoir starts, see? It's emptying so fast, and the water is spilling everywhere. So this is why we are starting this secondary construction here. We're basically trying to prevent it from spilling. Once we cut down these trees, I'm gonna extend and make sort of a waterway here that's gonna make sure that all of that water that's coming from the sluice is actually gonna fill this corridor and then be channeled into the river. and not around it. Now the same thing can be said for here, because when I close and open it, the water just, it's way more simplified in some senses compared to what we had before, because it's super hard to make sure that it fails. And I guess the best way would be just to use the overflow strategies I had before. So before the drought or badtide comes, I'm just gonna let all of the water into this reservoir, open this one, let the water out, and that way we are not gonna lose any. Because I mean, there's no point in letting the water in, because the moment I open this entire reservoir is gonna empty itself. There's no way to regulate it, and because of the water pressure, so much water is coming out that even if this one was open, it will never fill faster than it empties. So you end up basically with an empty reservoir. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but that's how it works. Because for the floodgates, we have it open by 0.15 of a square, and here you're basically letting an entire square of water out at all time, and the water is just basically rushing out. So it's a bit of a different system. I have to get used to it, but it's going to work, hopefully. Especially once we finish this this waterway, it will make it easier for us to fill the river, and I'm hoping that it's gonna make it, well, possible for me to basically just open and close it in small bursts, therefore making sure that the water is not wasted as it was previously. Apart from extending the reservoir and building the sluices and working on chopping down the trees and moving our way up, as you can see, we built a really nice walk here, or path here up to this level. We have been also extending into this area. You can see that I have building 3 more houses here and 2 more inventor huts. I've demolished the ones that were here, and instead I planted more sunflowers so that we have a bit more of a production of them, because I was kind of wrong when it came to food. We actually are not doing all that great. We're down to 135 carrots, 11 sunflower seeds, and we even started consuming a little bit of the berries, it seems. So I really need to make sure that we will not lose any more harvests, because it might put us in a grave danger of starvation, and I do not want to see that. On the other hand, water in the tanks is topped up, so we're doing really good on that. I still haven't had the time to actually build another water tank, which is coming to the fact that we don't have any logs. What I did here is I demolished the original storage and I unlocked the underground pile, which is the largest storage that we can get, because the large pile here had a capacity of 180, which was fine, but it was always full. The underground pile has a storage capacity of 1,000, but it turns out that once we built that, we actually do not have any logs, because we continued building here using everything, and now we're empty. So I'm trying to be a little bit mindful of my construction. I have set these ones to be on medium priority, while the sources were on a high priority, and we have just finished it, so they should start working on this area again. But yeah, we have to be a little bit mindful of wood, because we are spending it in an insane speed when it comes to the logs themselves, because each of these levies costs 12. You can see that we built this entire level, and like that's 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. It piles up. It piles up. So we need to make sure that we are not wasteful anywhere. But the tree farm is doing good. We're getting more oaks, we're getting more pines, so we're harvesting. Everything is looking good. I cannot complain. It's just that we have to be mindful of the construction. We've built so much and we've done so much construction that we actually exhausted our log storage. That should have been way easier to explain than I did it. I guess I'm just over explaining stuff, but I'm hoping that I'm not. Anyway, with the extra houses, we're gonna increase our capacity by 9 more beavers. I'm really hoping that they will be capable of manning everything, because right now we have 2 extra beavers here, but those are the guys that are coming from the water pumps that we have over here. So it's not really like we are doing great on the beaver population as before. I mean, we're like what, 7 days later and we are still having 31 beavers. So really, yeah, see, it's already filling and it's overfilling. So kind of interesting. I need to get used to it. It's really hard to manage because you cannot just let water out. And when I do it here again, you will see that the river fills, but the freaking reservoir just sinks. It's crazy how fast it's actually going and how much flooding we get when we do this. But yeah, I mean, again, a different system, you just need to navigate it properly and have everything done. Fortunately, we cannot use these buttons because there is no depth here. The terrace, what would you call it? Like, the sluice works well when it is positioned into the actual river, but we're not doing that. We're having it a level up, so this area is always dry. So I cannot set, this most useful slider to anything because it would automatically close if the water here, for example, was at, I don't know, 0.2 or something. But that doesn't work because it's always empty because all of the water leaves this area and flows down into the river. So that one will just have to be full manual. But I don't mind that because that means that we have a complete control over what is going on. Alright, I guess that's all for this update. I'll see you soon enough. Okay, we just need to open you again. Wait, no, you open. Oh god, flooding. But yeah, I'll see you when the badtide is here and I have more things to say. And I still haven't built a freaking paper mill. That is getting a little bit annoying to me as well. But again, priority on the security. Paper mill is an extension. Antidotes are an extension of an island that is actually fully sustainable, fully prepared, and fully resilient. And I guess we're not there yet. Day 11 of the 6th cycle, and we are about 1/3 through the badtide. It's a little bit more critical than I thought it would be, but we are managing good so far. By actually controlling the flow of water and doing what I said before, that we basically let in mini droughts and then we irrigate the area, then we put in another water, we will be fine because I still haven't done that at all. And you can see that we are through as I said, 1/3 of the drought, and we still have a completed full reservoir. So it is really good when it comes down to it, because we can do it at least twice with this reservoir. The evaporation of, what is it, I think it was 9 days, so 3.8 days are behind us, and we have lost about half of this level. So that is really good. What is kind of screwing with me though is the fact that it's uneven, so it's always really hard to realize how much water there is. If I remove the view for the water, you see that, the higher you are, the more water you have, but down here you have basically just this, and it's not that much, so I have to always keep reminding myself of the fact that it might look like there's a lot of water right now, but there really isn't. The sluices are working very well when it comes to the badtide itself. We have been having no issues with the badtide moving inside. Everything is well organized. We still have 630 units of water. What we're running out of though is carrots. Unfortunately, that is the sad truth. We are running out of carrots, and also the corruption has killed some of the seedlings that we had here. And I believe as we're gonna start using the water from the reservoir, the corruption from the sea or the bad sea, whatever you want to call it, is gonna start spreading into our mainland. So I'm really hoping that's not gonna be the case, but I really do worry it will be. The badtides are really dramatic, and they always stress test your entire system. And this one is already proving that. Oh yeah, by the way, it killed all of it over here as well and here. So half of our tree farm is already dead. More of it is gonna die, and it's not good news because we are still at 0 logs. We built so many things that we actually used all of the logs that we had, and well, these are now finished, and we have 11 young beavers and 29 adults. 29, 3 less than we had last time, but again, these ones, once they start growing up, will really be enough for us to set up the paper mill, set up the holding post, and expand the entire economy. Still, the issue is that we expanded all of the logs. We have tons of planks. That is not an issue. That's why I don't really mind building more of these platforms. And we finished also the waterway here, so it's not like we didn't harvest any logs in the meantime. But we're just scraping the barrel, man. We didn't even build the next water tank as I planned because I just do not have the logs. Actually, thinking about it, does this need... No, I just need planks and gears. So we could pretty much do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that next, because that is taking on from other storages. We have 86 planks and 28 gears, so we will be able to build it. So yeah, okay. On the next update, I guess this one is gonna be the last one for this episode, but during the next episode you will already see that it's gonna be here. I'm gonna probably do something like this, and build maybe 2 tanks next to each other. Yeah, that could probably work. Anyway, I think that it's a good time now to show you, and myself too, because I haven't used it, if this actual waterway that we've built works as intended. I certainly do hope so. We'll see soon enough. Okay, I can access it now from here. So yeah, let's... Oh, come on. Let's see if it works. Let's open it. Let some of the water out. Alright, that's enough. Yeah, no spillage. It's working perfectly. Nice. We didn't even maybe... We could have just went with 1 level less, saving some of the logs, but moderation is for cowards. This way we are 100% secure. Alright, so you are now irrigated. We reset all of the drought warning that we have here, so they can now hold for how long this river is gonna have water, and then 2 more days. Okay, we need to let out a little bit more water because the river isn't filled yet. Yeah, we need a little bit more. Alright, that ought to do it. Oh yeah, but we already lost about an entire level worth of water here. Is this gonna be good enough? Yeah, I guess that's good enough. Any more anyway would lead to it spilling over the dam into this area. So yeah, we're harvesting. Oh yeah, but here it goes. Because the water level went down here, there is less irrigation to go around, and you can see that the corruption is spreading into the farm. So more of these oaks are gonna get contaminated and killed. Man, I really do hope that we're not gonna have bad tides every single time, because that just limits our operational level to so much less. It's gonna get worse as we're gonna let the water out from here. It will only get worse. Yeah, we really need to get higher up. Well, what I'm gonna do here, and what's the plan for in between here and the next episode, we're gonna chop down these trees. It's gonna give us a bunch of logs, and we're gonna do whatever we can to increase our food stores, which is working nice. With this intermittent irrigation, we are doing well, so we hopefully won't see any of the crops dying because they are oh no, yeah, see, corruption is spreading here as well. But it's just from the badtide, man. During the badtide, things are really looking ugly. Because during the drought, you know, you have green here or dark, but this also is dark. But now it's always just this rusty, ugly color. I hate that. I really hate that. Well, still, a lot has been done during this episode, and we are being stress tested by the first badtide, and I think we're kind of surviving well, despite the fact that, oh god, wonder how much of the tree farm is gonna kill. But yeah, the carrots are gonna be fine. I think we can irrigate them even more because we're left with only 4 days on the clock, so it's gonna be fine, and yeah, it's gonna be good. So, goals: increase the size of the reservoir. We're already doing that, by the way. You can see that I have planted more of the VVs here. We are going to hopefully save at least part of this tree farm, build the water tanks, and finally start building the paper mill, which I have been talking about for what? 4 episodes now. Yeah, since episode number 1. But yeah, I mean, finally we'll have enough beavers to actually man it, because before that didn't really make any sense. Oh, and I'd like to actually mention before we end it here that the smelter is actually doing good, and we have a ton of metal blocks, 10. So we might really start building some more complicated structures which require metals, some of which we will need to actually, you know, be able to expand into the sea. So yeah, it might be good. We'll see. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me for this episode. It was fun. We have done a ton, and hopefully our Soggy Logs island is going to continue to survive in the worsening conditions that are gonna hit us soon. Because I'm pretty sure that the next drought is gonna be 15 days, maybe even longer. So we have to be ready, man. We really have to be ready for that.